When I first heard that adding ashes to your garden soil could boost plant growth, I was skeptical. Ash from a fireplace? It sounded more like an old wives' tale than a legitimate gardening technique. But after some research and hands-on experience, I decided to try it myself, and the results surprised me in ways I wasn't expecting. In today's video, I'll walk you through exactly what happened when I added ashes to my garden soil, what science says about this method, and how you can do it safely if you're curious to try it too. So what are wood ashes really? When you burn untreated natural wood, no chemicals, no paints, no processed additives, you're left with a grey-white powdery substance called wood ash. That ash is packed with minerals, most notably potassium and calcium, along with small amounts of phosphorus and magnesium. In essence, wood ash is a natural alkaline soil amendment that can act like a gentle fertilizer, if used correctly. I started with 2 identical garden beds. Same sunlight, same plants, same watering schedule. In one, I added a thin layer of sifted wood ash and gently mixed it into the topsoil. The other bed was my control. I planted a variety of herbs and leafy greens in both: basil, parsley, kale, and some strawberries. Within 2 weeks, I noticed a subtle but distinct difference. The leaves in the ash-amended bed had a deeper green color, and the plants seemed a little more robust. After a month, the difference became more noticeable. The basil in the ash bed was bushier, the kale leaves were larger and firmer, and the strawberry plants produced earlier flowers. But here's where it gets tricky, and where many people go wrong with wood ash. Wood ash raises the pH of your soil, making it more alkaline. If your soil is already on the alkaline side, adding ashes can make it too harsh for most plants, leading to nutrient lockout. That's when essential minerals like iron and phosphorus become unavailable to your plants, even if they're technically present in the soil. That's why step 1 before using ashes is always to test your soil's pH. A simple home testing kit will give you a ballpark idea of where your soil stands. In my case, my soil was slightly acidic, around 6.0, so the ash helped bring it closer to neutral, which most herbs and vegetables prefer. Now let's talk quantities, because more is definitely not better in this case. I only used about 1 cup of ash per square yard of soil, and I applied it just once at the beginning of the season. If you use too much, you risk raising the pH too fast, or even burning your plant roots, especially in seedlings or young transplants. Another important tip: never apply ashes right before it rains or water heavily immediately after spreading them. The sudden flush can push minerals too deep into the soil, or wash them away completely. One unexpected benefit I noticed was a reduction in pests, particularly slugs and cutworms. Wood ash has a gritty texture that seems to deter soft-bodied insects, especially when used as a dry barrier around vulnerable plants. I wouldn't call it a foolproof pest solution, but it did help reduce damage on my tender greens in the first few weeks of spring. However, not everything was perfect. A couple of my parsley plants started to show signs of yellowing leaves by mid-season, a classic symptom of nutrient imbalance. I realized this happened in a section where I may have over-applied the ash, showing me firsthand how sensitive some herbs are to soil chemistry changes. I corrected this with a light compost tea feed, and thankfully the plants bounced back within a week. So, what's the truth about adding ashes to your soil? It can be an incredibly effective, natural way to improve soil fertility if you use it in moderation, on the right soil type, and with the right plants. It's not a cure-all, and it's not something I'd recommend adding blindly to every garden bed. But for slightly acidic soils, especially if you're growing potassium-hungry crops like tomatoes, peppers, or berries, a small application of wood ash can give your garden a serious leg up. To wrap it up, adding ashes to your soil isn't just some outdated tradition. It's a time-tested technique backed by science, but one that requires a little knowledge and care. If you're curious to try it, start small. Test your soil first. Apply sparingly and observe how your plants respond over time. Gardening, after all, is about building a relationship with your soil, learning what it needs, and giving back to it in natural ways. Sometimes the simplest, most ancient materials, like a handful of ashes, can bring surprising results. If you've ever used ashes in your garden, or are planning to try it after watching this, I'd love to hear your experiences in the comments below. Let's keep growing and learning together, naturally.